Hello, everybody, and welcome to another webinar, this time featuring Teamviewer. This is going to be remote access for the Phil apocalypse. What we're trying to do is go over the different remote access features that we have, the remote access applications that we have. We already did Log Me In, but the other one today we're going to feature is Teamviewer. Now, Teamviewer you're able to get if you're on managed services. It has a couple of things that really only we would use. So basically what we're doing is giving you access through our remote monitoring and managing applications. You're basically using the exact same tools that we use in order to get onto your computer and do all the remote work that we need to do. So basically you're going to see some tools in there that you may not necessarily need or use on a daily basis. But the other part of this is we have found that TeamViewer is slightly faster than Log Me In as far as showing you images of what's on your screen. Has a couple of bells, beeps, and whistles that Log Me In doesn't have. But all in all, it's giving you remote access to your machine. So the first thing that you have to do, the very first thing you have to do is what we're going to send you an invitation to TeamViewer, to Ninja, basically the same Ninja console that we use. And it's not anything nefarious, even though it says Ninja. But what you can do is accept that and set up your multi-factor authentication. So basically setting up a text message that gets sent to your phone, or possibly an application on your phone that allows you to use the multi-factor authentication. Next step is, once you get home, you're going to go to teamviewer.com, and I can already have the website up here. And what you would do is click on this download for free button and install TeamViewer. There's really only two things you need to set, and that's just a basic install. So that it's not installing just one time only. And also you want to make sure you're selecting that it's for personal use. Even though it's for company use, it really doesn't matter what you pick down there, but just go ahead and select personal use. So once that's installed, then you're going to go back to the website that you have to log in through. So it's https://paralleledge.rmmservice.com. So once you go there, you're going to log in. It'll send you that multi-factor authentication code in some way. And once you get in here, you're going to see your computer that's been assigned to you. So you're not going to see anything else but the single computer that has been assigned to you. What you're going to do now is just hover right over the top of that computer, and you can see all the way over here, this little bubble here. That's the TeamViewer bubble, and that's what you're going to want to click on in order to get to your computer. So I'm going to click on that now. If you didn't have TeamViewer installed, you could use this link, but right now I'm not going to do anything because you can see here it's asking me in Edge, do you want to switch apps? Well, I'm going to say yes, I want to switch apps, because basically what it's going to do is push this session into the TeamViewer installation that I have. So I'm going to click yes here. So for Chrome, it might be a little different. It might have something that says, do you want to open TeamViewer right now? Whatever it is, just be on your toes, just selecting what you have to do in order to get that session working. So I'm going to go ahead and click yes there. And in 1 second, you'll see it pop up so that I have remote access to my computer. Let's see here. Hopefully it'll go in just a second here. It says connecting. And then once we come on, oops, look at this. It didn't connect the first time, so I'm going to give this another shot here. So I'm going to come over here to this little bubble again. Now I've jumped on this machine like 4 times in a row, so I'm going to guess that it's having some issues. Let's see if we grab it this time. Yep, here it goes. So if at first you don't succeed, try again. Now, one of the things that you'll see is a little different from the Log Me In is there's this menu bar up here. And there's also, once you get in here, you can see there's a blue thing down here with TeamViewer on it. This basically down here is just telling the person who's sitting in front of the remote computer, hey, somebody else is on this computer now, so just be careful. Easiest thing to do right here, just hit this little arrow right next to it, and that's going to send that little application, shoop, it's going to send it right into the corner so you don't have to worry about it anymore. Up here, this is a toolbar of what you can do on this computer. Now, one of the things that pops up, I'm going to go from right to left. Besides this, you see this is giving feedback. So this would be, again, you can find how the tools would be used for us logging onto your computer. You can give us feedback of how we're doing. I don't think you're necessarily going to use that button because you're not going to give yourself feedback unless you really want to pat yourself on the back. But next over here, you'll see these double monitors. So again, I have 2 monitors hooked up to my computer. and it gives you a couple different things. Now, this is the quick way to jump between the quick way to jump between monitors. So it's a quick button. So if I happen to click on that, I'm hopping between left monitor, left monitor, right monitor. Not giving me a whole lot of other options right there, but you'll find the rest of them under this View tab over here. So this is the quick way to hop between monitors. But if you really want to get to have your different monitor options, I'm going to click on this View button here. And you'll see that right below the view icon, there's 1, 2, or all monitors, and then also a selection to say monitors as individual windows. All right, well, let's see what happens here. So if I click on monitor 1, I'm already on monitor 1. If I click on monitor 2 here, just gives me monitor 2. So basically just the same thing as me hopping between monitors here. But then if we get into the next one here, what this is going to do is push both monitors into one screen. So you can see how that looks right there. So I have monitor 1 and monitor 2 in the same window. And it's a little tough to see, of course. Unless I had 2 monitors up at the same time on the home screen, it would be tough to see what's going on at work. The other thing here, you can also monitors as individual windows. So if I select that, and I come up here, I'm going to select monitor 1. So now I can see I have monitor 1 in this window, and I'm going to go here to view and only monitor 2 here. So now I have monitor 2 in another window, and I'm going to simply close this one that has both monitors in it at the same time. So now I have 2 individual monitors here in 2 individual windows. So again, if you wanted to get a little funky with your setup, maybe you did have 2 monitors and wanted one on one and one on the other one, you can have both open at the same time as 2 separate windows. So that's our monitor controls there. So let's go back to our different settings here. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so those were the monitors. I hopped to this one, but I'm going to go back here, Files and Extras. So the first one under Files and Extras is here's this Activate Teamviewer printing. So this would be for remote printing. So what this is going to do is allow the printers on my home computer to be quote unquote injected into the work computer. So that way if I print something on the work computer, it'll print out at my house right here. And I'm going to simply do this. I'm going to click on install. It's going to inject my Teamviewer printers into the remote session here. Should just take a second. Yep. And then if I open something, let's say I'm just going to open up a notepad document here. And I'm going to test. So I'm going to hit print here. And you can see Teamviewer here. So what that's going to do is print to my default printer that's on the home computer. So my work computer, I can hit print out in my work computer in this environment. It's going to print on the default printer on my home computer. So I'd be able to get that print out here. Now, for architects out there, you don't have a plotter at home, so just make sure you're not selecting something like that. But other than that, you're going to get nice 8.5 by 11, that type of thing at home. So if that's what you need to do as far as remote printing, that's how that works. Say no to that. More under Files and Extras here. You can take a screenshot of the screen or do a session recording. Again, both of these things are usually for what we're doing when we're on your machine remotely. Maybe you want to take a screenshot of what's going on your screen for, documentation purposes, or maybe, record a session of how we're getting to the root of the problem. May not be something that you're going to use at home. Another thing we have here is open file transfer. So this will allow you to, unlike Log Me In, it will allow you to transfer files from the home to the workplace. So you can do that. I would use it sparingly though, just because we don't want, stray files going from your home computer to the work computer. And you want to make sure you're not transferring anything that could possibly have a virus. So just use that sparingly if at all possible. And then same here, you can share using a file box, something like Dropbox, Google Drive. Again, I would probably just log into my environment there. Again, these are more for when we have, as Parallel Edge, has a Google Drive or a OneDrive box where we have like a repository of different programs that we want to throw onto your computer, maybe something like some kind of antivirus program or something. That's more what that's for. So what I would do is still use your Google Drive, your Dropbox, whatever you're normally using at your work. Communicate. Again, you can redirect the sound from the computer at work to the home computer. Not really needed in any case, because really there's no reason to do something like that. Really, if you're going to be doing any type of sound, or even if you had like a webinar that you needed to get onto, I would definitely say do it by telephone and do it locally, because putting sound over top of TeamViewer, it's laggy, it doesn't go very well, it slows your connection down. So if you need to jump on a webinar or a TeamViewer session, not a TeamViewer, a Teams session, maybe you got a remote meeting that you need to attend, I would do that on the local computer, or maybe join with a cell phone, because doing sound over this is just really not what you want to do. Same thing with these types of things over here. This is more for remote sessions that we're doing, not something you're just generally going to be using on a day-to-day basis. Getting back into this view menu here, you can see over here we have best fit, original, and scaled. This is how this is going to fit this window. So if I'm going to use scaled right now, it's going to scale itself to this window. If I use original, it's going to scale it up, but you can see that now in order to get to my start menu, I have to scroll down here, because the monitor that I'm on right now is much, much bigger than my laptop screen that I'm doing this recording on. So I generally either keep it best fit or scaled. Best fit is probably the best one that you want to do. So I'm going to put it back on there. I'm going to leave this on auto select, but you can tell this that you want to optimize the program for speed or for quality. So auto select will just basically look over what's going on over your connection and choose the appropriate one, but you can set it for one of these two. The monitors we've already gone over. Screen resolution is going to change the remote screen that you're on. So for instance, right now, the monitor that I'm on right now is set as a 1440 monitor. So it's pretty large in terms of the resolution, but maybe that's too much because I can't read anything over here. So one of the things I want to do is probably adjust that resolution so I can see a bit better. So I'm going to adjust that to 1920 by, what was that, 1920 by 1080, and you can see I can start to make out what's going on the screen over here. Another thing that speeds your connection is hiding your wallpaper. So right now when I'm logged into it, you can't see anything that's on my wallpaper. But if you want to see what's on my wallpaper, I can just uncheck that. And my wallpaper right now is saying, keep calm and stay home for the Philopocalypse. So you want to make sure to hide the wallpaper, which will make your connection that much faster. Showing the remote cursor, I was playing with this one earlier and I didn't really find a difference between the two. So when I'm logged onto this computer, what I had thought would happen is if I show remote cursor, that's tough to say, show remote cursor, when I'm clicking on stuff on my in my session, that I'd see the mouse moving around on the work computer, which is actually to my left. But no matter what I checked off or didn't check off, I saw the mouse moving around. So that really didn't work for me. Maybe you guys have different things that you might see. Refreshing your screen. Hopefully that screen is refreshing on its own. Again, I haven't found that I need to use that. Selecting a single window in sessions and tabs. I'm not really using these two too often, so I might skip that. And then showing to full screen, that's basically just going to blow up this window so that it's full screen and I won't see anything else but what I'm working on. Actions, again, you're going to start seeing more and more of those tools that we as Parallel Edge uses on your computer. First off, the end session here. What I would do if you're going to end your session is you want to lock that computer. So unlike Log Me In, TeamViewer doesn't necessarily lock your computer before you end your session. So that's a security thing, and you want to make sure that you're locking your session, because otherwise when you log off, or when you lock your session, when you jump off your session, that is, somebody could just walk up to your computer and be able to work on your computer. So you want to make sure to end that. There's another check that you can check off to make sure to do that automatically, and I'll show you that in a second. Leave note, again, Not something that you guys might use, because that's basically when Parallel Edge jumps off of your computer, we can leave a note on your screen saying, hey, we're all finished. You can go ahead and log in and do whatever you need to do. So again, not something that you're going to use. Same thing in here. These are quick tools for us to bring up the command prompt, the control panel, and so on and so forth. Again, not something that you guys might use. Scripts is grayed out because you guys can't run scripts on your computers. This is what I was talking about before. You can just lock this session right now. But one of the things I would do is this drop-down menu here. You can see lock on session end. If this is checked off and now I close this window, that's going to automatically lock the computer that I'm remoted into. So that's a good thing to check off. And then other options we have in here is sign out on remote computer and lock now. Here's your reboot options in case you do need to reboot your work computer. You can reboot or reboot into safe mode. I would only do this reboot here. So that's just going to reboot your computer, make sure that it's all cleaned up and all that type of stuff. There is no option to shut down in here. You can also send a Control-Alt-Delete. So if you happen to log onto your computer and your screen is at the lock session, or possibly when you go to log in, it's asking you to hit Control-Alt-Delete to log in. Don't hit Control-Alt-Delete on your keyboard on your laptop or whatever computer you're on at that point in time, because it's just going to Control-Alt-Delete in the computer that you're on right then and there. It's not going to do it in that session, in that window. So what you're going to want to do is click on this Send Control-Alt-Delete. Then you'll be able to log into that session. Or if you need a quick way to hit the Task Manager, you can hit that Control-Alt-Delete right here. And this is one of those things that you need to have enabled in order to do this, so that you can send key combinations from that remote computer to the work computer itself. You can disable remote input and also show a black screen. So this is controlling what's going on the computer at work. So if you disable remote input, that way somebody at work happens to bump your mouse or type a few keys on your keyboard, that's going to disable that access. And also show black screen. What that means is if I'm at work and I'm sitting next to your computer that you're remoted into, I'm not going to be able to see anything that you're working on. It's also important for people in accounting or HR. You want to make sure that you're not showing exactly what you're working on, because if somebody is braving the coronavirus and going to the workplace, they'll be able to see what's going on your screen. So I want to make sure to show black screen and also disable that remote access. Again, down here, not too many buttons that you're going to use. I don't think you're going to invite anybody additionally to your machine, and also doing remote updates or anything like that. And that's pretty much it as far as the buttons goes. Another thing that you can do if this is really pain up here, you can go ahead and click this arrow here, and that's going to minimize that toolbar, get it out of the way so that you have more room to work. So hopefully I've gone over all the buttons that you'll be able to need while you're working remotely. And as always, if you have any issues logging onto your computer, any issues with TeamViewer itself, please give us a call or send us an email at support@paralleledge.com. Again, my name is Kevin Cerula, and I hope you guys enjoyed the webinar today about TeamViewer, and we'll be doing much more in the future. So have a good night, everybody.